picked up all that ground clutter. I mean, I know it's kind of anal, but it was. I'm pretty happy with it. So I did that from the lake shore down to the boat landing. I cleaned up the boat landing as well, and pruned that area, made that nice, and it's really quite pleasant here. Then just recently, a couple days ago, there's a rock down there, probably I don't know, it's 100 yards, 200 yards. It doesn't seem that far, but I wanted to go down and fish off it because it's a big, prominent rock that juts way out in the water. And every time I pass by there in my boat, it's like, man, I catch fish, I mark structure. It's like, wow, this is a big fish spot. And you got access to deep water close to it. And then there's a rocky shelf that comes up with boulders, and it's just a great spot. So I tried to get down there to fish it. No dice, man. You're not walking the shoreline down there. And then in the back of my mind throughout the week or so, I thought, I'd like to make a path or, mark a trail to get down there. So one day I was in here. I was kind of choppy out, overcast. Probably would have been a good day to fish actually. But I thought, I'm gonna make that trail. Well, it took me about 45 minutes scrambling around. There's a lot of chasms back there. It's kind of rocky and deep. You got to be careful. Watch what you're doing, especially if you're alone. And I thought, I wish I had some flagging tape because you meander around back there. You kind of get yourself squared away, and then you kind of lose. Well, should I have went this way? Should I have went that way? So I kept peeking around and looking. I finally got to the rock, and then I walked my way back, and then I walked my way there again. I got a good feel how the trail should be put in, and my goal was to I wanted to be able to walk it with a fishing rod and not worry about getting tangled with stuff. You know what I mean? You hate to walk through the trail. You got to turn your fishing rod backward, fight through the brush. It's no. I want it to be nice. So it took me all day from probably 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 in the afternoon to clear a trail that takes 6 minutes to walk. I know it seems incomprehensible, but once you walk it and see how wide the walkway is and how well it's done, I can understand. I got new appreciation for those guys that build trail, man. I'll tell you, it's some real work. So I put that in, and I'm super happy about that. That adds a lot to this campsite, I think. So that's about it for the camping. Now for the fishing, uh, this lake is just lights out, man. It is a walleye factory. I don't think I've ever caught so many walleye in my life, but I didn't catch any big ones, which kind of a little chagrined about that. Of course, I didn't really put my best effort in either. This building this camp kicked my butt, man. I'll tell you, it was hard getting up in the morning, hard to get out early, hard to get going in the morning because I think in the mornings in August is when the good fishing is still happening, the best fishing, particularly for walleye. Um, so anyway, the walleyes here are just about everywhere. I caught them up in the river there when it was rough on the lake. I caught them in water 3 feet deep. I caught them in water. This is going to be astounding to some, but I caught when I was out there lake trout trolling. I caught them with big spoons. I was using I'm telling you, 8-inch flutter spoon. I wanted to catch a big whopper laker, and I had it on a diver, and I'm out in 80 and 100 feet of water, and I'm catching walleyes. And some of them, and I thought, well, maybe the big walleyes were out there. So I was fishing lake trout slash, hopefully, maybe the big walleyes had moved offshore. Maybe there's something out there they're eating, and that still may be the case. I don't know. But I was catching walleye out in 80 feet of water. So the daggone things are all over the place. They're covered up here. And but the biggest ones I caught were about 22 inches. Most of them are right at 18. Not bad fish. If you're fishing light tackle, they're fun, man. But you know, I'd like to get a few big ones thrown in there once in a while. But some live bait, I think, might help. If you probably have to bring in a case of a flat of night crawlers to weed through the 22 inchers before you could get on a big one. But there's so much diversity of life in the water here. There's leeches galore. I mean, there's just tons of those things. And there's lots of snails, which is not dead shells. Usually you look, oh, there's a dead shell. No, they're live. They're moving all over the place, man. It's weird. And I marked schools of bait, so there's a lot more. It's a lot more fertile here at the north end of the park than at the southern end, I think, where I went to a regular lake a few years back. There seems to be a lot more juice going on here. But the pike fishing was kind of strange in a way. I didn't catch many the 33 to 38 inch fish that are pretty common in the Quetico. Usually catch 3 or 4 of those a day, but I either caught small pike. I caught a few decent ones off the fishing rock the other day, but under 10 pounds. But other than that, either caught small ones or I cooked a couple of big ones. I caught 2 that were right at 16. Decent pike, not monsters, but you know they were decent ones. And if I'd have focused on them, I probably could have banged a couple more of them. I had one fish on that was absolutely a dream fish. I didn't really have it on. I still can't figure out what happened completely. But I was fishing a Sebile swimmer, and I should have had it here to show you. It's a big lure, segmented big lure, big saltwater lure, big shiny. It's a goes through the water in an S motion. I was running that, and bam! I have this hit. The rod bends over, and I get it out of the rod holder, and I feel up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, baby, this is a nice one." And so I'm not far from the bank, right? So I'm kind of holding on to the rod, and I'm paddling my boat. I see a little shallow, reedy spot, and I know, okay, that's a good place to get out, because I ain't lifting this fish on the boat. There ain't no way. So the rod's bent over. I'm thinking, oh man, this is a whopper. And I get over to the bank, and I don't horse them. But when you horse them, they get excited, and they take off, right? So I just kind of ease them in, and next thing you know, I look, and here's a pike about, I don't know, 24 inches, and I'm like, huh? What? I'm like, wow, man, they can surprise you. And then I thought, there's no way, there's no way this is the same fish. My mind's turned, and I said, what the heck happened? And you know, in my mind, I'm already holding this big whopper pike up, and I look at the pike, and sure enough, man, there's a bite mark on this thing. 2 curved indentations on this pike, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh man. So then I started visualizing in my head how big the head of this thing had to be to clamp onto that thing. And since I was kind of easing him in, man, he just wasn't letting go, you know? He's just kind of coming in with it. And, yeah, so there's some huge ones here. Undoubtedly, of course there is, but It would have been nice to have popped them. I think the big one was following. I think they do that a lot. The pike, they'll follow a lure. I think he was following it, and I think the little guy jumped on it, and then he nailed the little guy. You know, just to be mean. It's like, hey, 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 that's mine. So I think that's what happened. The lake trout fishing. Who knows, man? I spent a lot of time on the calm days lake trout fishing. I was all over out there. I don't know. The water's a little warm. That's what the guys at Saboran Fish Camp said. The fish were off biting a bit, but I spent a lot of time trolling. I put diving aids down, flutter spoons, got down probably 40, 45 feet. Did a lot of trolling over 60, 80, 120 foot of water, but not one, but just more walleye. Oh man, go figure, right? What else? I don't know. That's about it. The sunsets off the Sunset Porch here, they're sublime, man. They're just incredible. I've watched the sun go down, sat there fishing, or sat there. Well, I do a lot of sitting there, writing and eating, but and fishing, standing there fishing. The fishing's great, but the sunsets are just spectacular. But you got to watch this lake, man. It is it's not to be trifled with. I was on the day that I put the trail in. I'm walking the trail back, and all of a sudden the wind switches direction, and I'm telling you, it's gale force. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. It was just honking like you couldn't believe. Within, I don't know, 10 minutes there was 3-foot whitecaps here. So if you're down there by the islands fishing, I didn't see much south of here. There's 2 islands down there that's got some good fishing on. There's 2 islands, a lot of walleye on them. But for the most, it's a beautiful paddle down there. I love it. But the fishing's better up north and right along this whole shoreline where the Musclow River enters, right out in front of this rock. I guarantee you can go down, drop a jig, and you've got lunch in, I don't know, 10 minutes. But the lake can get nasty really quick, so you need to be prepared to spend the night if you have to. Bring your headlamp, so if it calms down. Sometimes when these blows come through, man, it blew all night long, which was you know, yeah, that's pretty strong stuff here. So you got to be prepared to spend the night, which I was for the most part. What else about this place? I don't know. It's just pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome spot. I think that's about it. Oh, I wanted to show you this lure. This was I caught my first big pike on. I put this thing down, and 10 minutes. I'm telling you, I didn't have this thing down 10 minutes, and whop! I had a 16-pounder in the boat. Well, on the land. But that's a Shadzilla, and the guys at Saboran Lake, I was shocked when I looked in their boats. They all were running those things, and big jakes. And so those guys know, man. These guys know what these fish are wanting to eat. So I've blathered on now for quite some time, and anybody who's watched this entire thing, you deserve an award of some sort. But I do suggest coming here. This is a great spot. I'd like to see it get some use after putting so much work into it. You'll have a great time. A guy could always get flown in here too. That's another option. Get flown in and stay and paddle your way back out. It's going to be great paddling back out. I'm quite a bit lighter on stores, so it's not so much work toward the end. If you paddle in, there's only a rough day or two portage wise, and then after that you're freewheeling. But other than that, that's my reflections on Musclow Lake. I'll definitely, this would be definitely I don't usually go back to places year after year. I like to always go someplace new. But this would definitely be a place I would come back to. I would stay right here. It's an awesome, awesome spot. Fishing's good, sunset's spectacular. You do have to be expert at setting up your tarp, however, and your tent. I went through 3 big blows here. And in fact, that was Martin's concern when he talked about camping here, was getting blown off this piece of rock. And if you're not equipped to set stuff up properly, I could see where you could go down pretty easy. But I had no problems. I set my tarp slightly into the lake. It shed wind great. I've got a lot of guy lines on it. I used rocks to anchor my tent. And it's funny because the tent, it slopes down a little bit, and down by the landing you hardly get any wind at all. It's the weirdest thing. This knob acts as a windbreak for down at the landing, so in case you have to do some cooking down there, it's actually quite calm down there, even in the big blows. It's kind of weird. But you got to be able to set your stuff up right if you do come here. You know, you want to be secure because it's going to blow. But actually, I kind of like it. I like being here where these waves are crashing up against the front porch and the spray and the noise. It was kind of cool. But anyway, I've blathered on long enough. I guess I'm using up all the words I haven't used in the last 10 days or so all at once. But that's it. My reflections on Musclow. And I heartily endorse a trip here. Don't think you can ask for a better time. It's just awesome.